Hello everybody, welcome to The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. I just wanted to show you guys some mealtime in a very densely vegetated tank. I would consider this a nano tank. It is 17 gallons, has a small footprint, and yet I have quite a diverse array of fish and shrimp in here. We have 3 species of shrimp, actually 4, including we have here the Malawa shrimp, and then we have, which are a clear shrimp that turns colors, and then we have the gold Nebula Shrimp, which, if we can see them, they look very similar. So here's a Malawa who has little teeny brown dots and yellow internal organs up in the shoulder. Clear body that has like a pink or lavender hue. That hue turns colors. Whereas one of the other shrimp, the Nebula Shrimp, when we see them, they will have, this isn't one either. These all up here are these all Malawa? Yes, these are all Malawa shrimp, which is a Caridina species, and the gold Nebula shrimp is also a Caridina species. But when we see them, they'll have this ridge on their shoulder or on their back that makes it very, very, gives them a lot of texture. And that's how you can differentiate them. You'll see at the growth plates. Although, you know, it is tricky. I do have to say that that's tricky. Look at this guy actually cleaning, or gal, this is a gal, cleaning her body with that back leg. Also in here we have the Neocaridina shrimp, these guys. Neocaridina davidi, they're doing well. And then this looks to be one of the golden nebulas again, because it's got more whiskers, as you'll see, but it's not showing, it's still young, it's not showing the ridges of, I think it's some sort of calcification, honestly, that causes that. But we'll keep searching and I'll let you know if we see one. Up here, we've got the different variations. Since this is my coal tank, this is where the not good enough shrimp go, essentially, from my downstairs tank, which is my finest shrimp. And right here, we've got a blue dream that's just, it's not consistent. It's got blotchy blue. Its legs are clear. Its tail has clarity in it that I don't want. Up here, we have the opposite problem. This shrimp is really dark and very consistent, but just too darn dark. So they can get put in here for a number of reasons. This one right here is another example of, this is probably a good shrimp genetically, but it's just too darn dark for what I need right now. And then again, the Malawa shrimp having that clear, slightly lavender body. Then right in here, we've got a beautiful Tuxedo Koi Endler, and these ones have the dark body. This is the female, but if you come with me over here, you'll see that the males actually, I mean, they have nice color, but they're not terribly different. I mean, they have more color, but the females actually look pretty darn attractive, which is something I really like in the newer strains of guppies. You didn't see that years ago. You can see in guppies and endlers, this gal is an endler, that from above, she still kind of resembles that wider carp or koi, you know, goldfish body that is the goal of breeding these fish. Alongside her are some female endlers that have the albino version of the gene, or melatonistic is the technical term, in that they are not true albinos. They are not, they don't have pink or red eyes. They don't have internal organs that are albino. They just have outside that has that trait, and it actually only carries in the males with this line. while they still have this nice shimmer of almost like a Moscow green guppy or Endler. Alongside it here, we have the beautiful Phoenix Rasboras. They're all out. You can see their blue iridescence shining as well as their color flashing while they eat. I'd never get tired of watching this. The signals they give one another. You can see that the black mark looks like a metallic green when they move just right. And that they all have different body markings that change. The black arrangement of dots changes, and you can see now peach, orange, all sorts of subtleties that you might not always see in these fish when you just take a glance or maybe in the pet store. So they may look like a dull version of chili rasboras that are slightly smaller. There's a female. See, you can tell just by her belly that that's going to be a female. It's very hard to tell with these fish who's a male and female, but when you see one female with a really bulged belly, you'll know. And here we've got Tinwinny Danios, and Gold Ring Danios is another name, or Platinum Leopard, Dwarf Leopard Danios. I've seen them marketed as a number of names across the country and world, but they are a Tinwinny is their Latin name, and they're one of my favorites. They don't get over about 1.5 inches at the largest females, and then about 1 inch for the males. Here's a large female right here. You can see what a belly she has, both these females, whereas the males are more slender, and the males will have a slight purple in their fins, and so you'll see it hopefully when he makes his next pass around. We'll see that. That would be nice, right? And then coming in and out of the picture, out of the frame, we have, so there is a gold nebula shrimp, by the way. Right here, you can see those ridges that have the calcification or whatever it is that builds up. And that is, you see those little dots? That they look like little stars. They're sparkly. So, and then here we have a giant, this is called a short-nosed algae eating shrimp. And it can reach up to 2 inches, 1.5 inches is more likely. But they do a really good job of eating algae, including diatomaceous algae, which is very interesting because that requires a lot of scraping. But they look very similar to a lot of other shrimp, as you know. And here you can see the gravid spot on the female Endler. She's full of babies. You see all of those babies in her? Those dark spots are actually the eyes. I mean, not just the eyes, they're the bodies, but the eyes of the baby fish in her. They're alive little critters, and they're in there. So here we have another female. You can see that bulge in the belly where the eggs are stored. They also are probably nice and full, which you'll see as a widening of the fish. But again, these Phoenix Rasboras, in my opinion, are really beautiful, and I like them more than the Chili Rasboras for the fact that each one's slightly different. They have different markings, so you can get to know them. You can pick out a female and a male if you're trying to breed them. And overall, they're just such a nice, peaceful fish. They're not going to eat the shrimp, which is great, and they are one of the all-time smallest fish for the aquarium hobby. This guy being, you know, probably no more than 1/2 inch, and he may be full grown. Some of the males stay that small, so pretty cool. Now, in this tank, we also have a number of other really cool specimens, and I don't know if we're going to see them because they're shy. But up here, here's a side view of those males that are in detention for harassing the female. They are quite beautiful, I must say. But we also have, if we can find any, We have multi-lined border loaches, dwarf border loaches, and we have erythromicrons, which I've taken most of them out. Whenever I see them and I can catch them, I'll grab them and pull them out. And they're living downstairs mostly in a tank together. But when I can't, then they end up in here, or they end up staying in here, I should say. Also, same with the Somfongzi rasboras. We still have a few in here, but really these Tin Winnie Danios have taken over the tank as far as being the large presence, as well as the Endlers, the female Endlers. Here we have a buried female shrimp. Inconsistent coloring again, but I'm more than excited. I don't know, more than excited? I'm very excited for her to have her babies, and we'll see what color they are, since they're kind of, I don't know if she mated with the darker colored ones or the lighter. Now down in here, they're kind of hard to see sometimes, but you can see there are just a ton of shrimp. They just blanket the entire floor of this tank, which is one of the nicest things about them for breeding. They're just a great choice for profit shrimp. Then as we get closer to the top of the water, more Neocaridina shrimp, and living up into all the way up at the very top of the water, we have a nice selection. I'll probably scare them all away right now, of shrimp. So they gather a lot of the food that gets stuck up here on the duckweed and whatnot. Let's see if we can find a good... There's little teeny baby shrimp that are hard to spot. But right in here, there are two. And let's see if we can find one that's moving and making a show. Now, this tank used to have a bunch of very expensive plants that needed CO2 and constant care. And for some reason, I've just kind of let the tank go feral. I've let nature do its thing, turn the CO2 down a bit. It is still running, technically, but at such a slow pace that it doesn't really do much good. I've thrown catappa leaves in to get that acidity back up. And really what I'm hoping to achieve out of this tank, while its soil has been depleted, is to just kind of get the last oomph out of it by making it kind of a breeding biotope type tank for some of the really teeny fish. I've even been debating in my head about getting rid of all of the Endlers and Danios, save for the erythromicrons and maybe the celestial pearls. I do love those two fish quite a bit. The emerald dwarf rasboras, as they're known in the trade, as well as the galaxy rasboras, as they're known in the trade. I really thought about taking them and the phoenix rasboras and just breeding them alone in a tank. But the other thought that I have is to set up that new Caridina tank in the bookshelf size tank. Just would need to figure out where in the heck I could put it. My wife definitely doesn't want any more tanks if we can help it, that's for sure. But it would be great to have those little guys. And maybe more, it's almost more of a feature like the one next to the sink, where it's just for the plants, visibly to most people, is probably what you would assume I'm doing. But to me, it's amazing to watch critters living in such a small little area. Also, the red root floaters are doing well, even though they're not super bright red. They've got pretty intense light right here, but it's not the right spectrum. It's a cooler light to the one that causes them to kind of bloom and really get that blood red you see in the roots. Right now it's more of a pink or lavender sort of tone. And also, it's these lilies. I love them. They're beautiful, but the pads definitely do disrupt light flow to everything else. And we're having there's some baby shrimp that you can probably make out. Um, we're having the light flow really disturbed by all these floating plants. And so the plants that I traded for and waited for and begged for from different friends that I trade plants with and stuff, now it's being all neglected, like without the CO2 and so forth. All right, well, I just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into the tank again. These Malawa shrimp love to clean and eat right off the glass, which is kind of unusual for dwarf shrimp if you know them. A lot of them don't like to hang out straight on the glass. They can stay there, or they hang out by the heater in a corner or something. But these ones, and these ones, everybody says it's impossible, and perhaps it is. Perhaps they're just blending in with the surroundings, but I definitely feel like that is blue. I mean, there's no doubt about the blue that's on these Malawa shrimp. And some of them are really blue, way more blue than that. This one has kind of a sky blue tone when you compare it with, this shrimp, for instance, that's clearish, lavender and orange. This one's would be what I call a normal clear shrimp. But I just wanted to kind of show you that because I think that there may be some genetic mixing going on with the Neocaridina. And that may be because the Neocaridina are not properly identified. Perhaps these blue dreams have a lineage that is Caridina related also, or we don't understand how they're classified fully. But again, here's another one that has a clear mix of the blue. The whiskers, the nose is more dense on these ones with the blue, and the whiskers are long, so they're definitely not just a wild strain. I mean, but look at the blue on these guys. And if I turn color saturation on at all, you'll see it really strong. Whereas here is a fully, this is a blue dream shrimp, but it's got the longer rostrum and less whiskers or feelers. So normal. And, well, now the blue one's gone. I guess that's how it goes. Okay, here's side by side. Pink versus blue. So you be the judge. Let me know in the comments what the heck you think is going on in this crazy tank. Also in here right now, I'm debating getting rid of a bunch of the plants, cutting them way back, because I do have 3 residents that are, 1, very expensive, but 2, just really cool fish to watch. And that is the L333 and the L134 plecos, 3 total, living in here, that are about an inch long. They're very young, so I didn't want to put them with the adult plecos, but alas, here they are, and I can't see them, so I'd like to be able to assess that. And since they're Hypencistrus and Peclatia, I want to make sure that they're getting enough protein rather than just vegetative matter. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, be on the lookout for t-shirts and merchandise. And I will catch you next time on The Secret History Living Inside of Only My Aquarium, Not Yours. All right. Swim on, guys. Bye.